everyone, it's Dr. Rick, and as you can see I'm by myself, but I wanted to show you the importance of social distancing and wearing a mask. Since there's nobody here, it'd probably be easier for you to hear me, so I'm taking the mask off. If I see anybody else on trail, I'll put it back on. For those of you who are just trying to find your way throughout the shelter times, I want to give you an option that might help you, but might not be evident when you just get out. So if you're doing some walking around the neighborhood, that's good. Honestly, everybody should be walking. That shouldn't be the exercise you do only. I think that if you add some resistance into that, it would be more beneficial. Here's why. Especially with COVID, when you have a perceived exertion, say you do a really fast sprint down the block, or you're attacking a hill on a bike, or you do a 25-meter swim, and you haven't done that before, your heart rate will start increasing, you'll start to get short of breath, you get oxygen hungry. And then with the fast heart rate and the shortness of breath, because of all the muscle that's moving, your temperature will elevate. So those of you who have anxiety, or those of you who have been following COVID, what are the symptoms we watch out for? I mean, I'm air hungry, I'm short of breath, and I've got a little bit of a temperature. Well, what are you going to do? You're going to freak out. Now, those of you who have tasted a little bit of exertion, you'll probably say, that's not too bad. I can get through that. It's not the only thing, but a lot of this is mental. So if you haven't tasted a workout, or it's been a while, when you start to exercise and add resistance, like I'm going to tell you, there might be a spooky sensation. And if you ever have a problem, shortness of breath gets too much, your heart rate's too fast, or you have chest pain, you just stop in your tracks, turn around, go back home. If you wanted to take advantage of what's around you, and that's essentially going to be trails, sidewalks, or do some hiking, walking if you want to call it, with weight. We're normally going to be going flat. At least in Chicago, it's flatland. So that guy's heading up, I'm heading down. I'm using gravity, and it's easy. There's no resistance because I'm not using a heavy backpack. I'm not having to fight gravity. He's going uphill, so he has to fight gravity pulling him down. So it's going to be harder for him and his thighs to get over that hump. When muscles taste that little bit of stress, that is a stress response that gets initiated, and if you pull back and allow recovery, the next time you do that allostatic load, which is going to be taking on that hill, your muscles will hopefully be ready for it. They'll either be more fit, they'll develop more capillaries, that's blood vessels, to provide the muscles that are going to be stressed out with more blood flow. You'll be very good at lactic acid recirculation. That's the byproduct of glycogen or energy metabolism. And when lactic acid is accumulated after a lot of walking or exercise, it gives your muscles this sense of fullness, which for some people, as I mentioned in my last video, bodybuilders, we like that pump, swollen feeling. But for people who haven't exercised before, sometimes that's kind of spooky, thinking, ooh, there's something wrong with my muscles. Or it's just, you feel like your legs are concrete. So you will actually allow the muscle more fitness so it can tolerate the next time that you stress out the legs. So that's how exercise gets you fit. It actually also helps with cardiovascular conditioning, also helps with calming the brain. It also helps with immune system, and this is what we need at this point in time. Is you got to really make the immune system bulletproof and ready for a challenge. Hopefully none of us will have COVID, but I've had a couple patients already recovering, and those of you who haven't had it but you're recovering, the biggest thing I see is that with the sheltering in place, everybody's gaining weight. We're watching TV too much. We probably did already, and getting a little bit stir crazy from being in one small place for a prolonged amount of time. And we don't know the behavior of this virus, so this could potentially last a long time. I miss working out at Planet Fitness, my $10 a month club, because I like working out with people who are on the same page, and it inspires me to exercise more when I see other people. In my basement, I don't see anybody else except for my daughter, and she doesn't always exercise with me, so it's like, shit, why should I even do this exercise? Why should I push 15 minutes of hell when, in all honesty, it's boring down there? So I think humans really should be trying to do the best they can with exercise and challenge, eating properly. Sometimes if you don't do that and you just watch TV or you just are a couch potato, even if you're doing your job 50 hours a week, you really still have to do something. You have to balance life, and part of the balancing of life is getting outside. That's why nature therapy is so beautiful. But if I was to use walking as an activity to keep me busy and healthy in this shelter-in-place COVID time, I would try to add a backpack. So that's my backpack, and it's not a heavy one. I have a big one that I take on big hikes. So I plan to go to Colorado soon in August. Yes, I'm planning that. If it doesn't happen, that's okay, but like a lot of cancer patients, if you just live in the moment when you're having chemotherapy, God, there's no end in sight for that crap. I mean, it's necessary evil, but if you project yourself past that and say, I'm going to ring that freaking bell and get out of this chemotherapy, get done with my radiation, it gives you hope and it gives you something to shoot for. So I would try to get on a schedule. Your muscles, again, will be accommodated to that stressor. And then you can progress on further. You can put a big pack back on. You can do the steps faster, or you can do the incline here at Mount Hoy quicker. That is the epitome of fitness, is being able to do a sprint up an incline with the fast recovery. So I would challenge you to say, if you do walking every day, 5 to 15 minutes, my suggestion is you start out wherever you are around the block. You map out what you're able to tolerate. If I tackle this hill by just walking, I'll be short of breath at the top. If I tolerate this hill by walking and putting a backpack on that's heavy, I'll be really short of breath with perceived exertion, a fast heart rate, and an elevated temperature by the time I get to the top. But again, bottom line, and the spoiler alert, the idea is to try and build up tolerance to what you're doing. Now, if you don't have a mountain like this is only 800 feet, but if you live in the flatlands like I do of Chicago, find some steps. I mean, that's really boring, but at least it'll give you a little bit of challenge, like once a week. If you're just going to be outside, like a flat neighborhood, fine. But put some speed into it and put some weight in your backpack. Ankle weights, I don't like, because I think it puts weight on you, but it makes the knees excessively work, and I think you're going to ask for trouble. I'd rather have a more balanced weight approach, like a vest or a backpack. So think about that. Sometimes I've seen in my previous video on Swallow Cliff Stairs, I remember seeing a guy carrying a big rock. I mean, the rock was probably 80 pounds. I'm thinking, holy shit, this guy's really getting a workout. But the advancement of allostatic load. When you get to a point where the muscles are just so fine-tuned they can tolerate anything, you need more resistance. And the challenge is there to try and lift up heavy stuff, to work the thighs, work the quads, work the hamstrings and the calves. And inadvertently, you're always going to work your core too, but I think the biggest muscles, aside from the latissimus dorsi, that's the muscles on the side, are the legs. So when you get the legs working, you'll be better at modulating metabolism, controlling glucose, beating diabetes, or reversing prediabetes. Again, having your body tolerate a higher perceived exertion. This is all in the best interest of people who are recovering, or people who are just overweight from this COVID sheltering. Or if you live in Illinois and you had places where you can find elevation, I think elevation gives you the challenge. Challenge makes it interesting. Keeping interest will make this sustainable.